Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Carlo Loubser, and I will be sharing with you the postgraduate modules that we as the Water Civil Engineering Department offer for potential postgraduate students. Now, I'm used to standing in front of a class and sharing it with you guys, so it is more personal for me and slightly difficult to do the same sort of approach with the computer screen, but just bear with me as we all have to struggle through these times. Maybe just on a personal note, postgraduate studies puts you in a different realm in terms of your CV. I always try to motivate students, if they can at all, make it work to get themselves into the course and the program so that they, towards the end of 2 years, can actually have a master's degree in civil engineering behind their names. Mostly because it offers something for your CV, but also gives you time to grow up as a person, to become more sort of rounded, a better tool for practice. And also it opens the world to studying abroad, especially in Europe, where you would typically struggle to find a job with a normal BEng degree, but the doors are much more open in Europe for engineering students with master's degrees. Then I think I always say the same thing, so bear with me. We put you through the undergraduate course in a sort of reactive manner. We teach you to be reactive, which means that you respond to deadlines, you respond to hand-ins, you respond to tests where you actually have to study and then regurgitate information to show what you've learned. And really, so we actually then set a sort of a program, and you have to respond in a reactive manner. In terms of postgraduate research and studies, it is a much more proactive environment where you actually set your own pace, you do the research yourself. The postgraduate degree that you achieve at the end of the day is all your own work. It's supposed to be all your own work. So it's really an opportunity to learn how to operate in a proactive environment, which is more similar to practice. But what I'm going to do now is I'll share my screen, and from then on, it will be the screen that we go through. All right, so in terms of water engineering, we have Prof. Basson, who focuses on hydraulic structures and river hydraulics. We have Mrs. Bosman, who focuses on stormwater systems. We have Prof. Du Plessis, who focuses on hydrology and climate change. We have Dr. Isabel Brink, who focuses on water quality engineering. And we have Prof. Skoenius and Dr. Tron, who is specialist in port and coastal engineering, who specializes in terms of Prof. Basson, he's a world-renowned expert on hydraulic structures, and he focuses on physical and mathematical computational fluid dynamic modeling of three-dimensional flow patterns at hydraulic structures, typically at the dam spillway hydraulics, looking at dam spillway hydraulics, looking at energy dissipation structures, river abstraction works, large diameter conduits, and environmental impact minimizations. If you actually work with him, you will definitely get exposure to the big laboratory and maybe do a lot of practical experiments in there. He also focuses on hydrodynamic mathematical modeling of river systems to investigate aspects such as climate change and land use change impacts, sediment transport and fluvial morphology, estuary and lake hydrodynamics, and salinity and erosion protection. This is quite important and very difficult to model in any other way than with complicated computer programs. Then we have Mrs. Bosman, whose focus area is stormwater, and she does physical and numerical modeling of stormwater systems, looking at flood routing in urban environments, hazard classification and mapping, bridge hydraulics, low-level causeways and debris, flood attenuation, pond design, flood warning systems, and the so-called SUDS, or Sustainable Urban Drainage Systems. Prof. Du Plessis is our hydrology expert, and he looks at floods and droughts, and also at water resources management, which is becoming more and more important where we have more and more people actually using the same resources. So the management of those resources, especially the water resources, is a very important field. And he also looks at climate change. In his sort of studies, he sometimes does catchment simulations. Some of you might have seen the sandbox, the bottom left hand of the screen, photo of that. And then the impact of fires on runoff peaks and volumes, where he looks at the pre and post fire hydrographs, floods. And then he's recently started looking at radar images and whether we can use that to better understand the distribution of rainfall. So if we have a storm and we have those hotspots in the storm, how is the rainfall distributed in the storm to better understand what the total runoff would eventually be. Then Dr. Isabel Brink focuses on the water quality side, and she does a lot of research on biofiltration, which has impact or implication on stormwater cleaning and roof and roadside solutions. So in our quest to manage our water resources in a more sustainable manner, we have to look at all our water resources and nationally and specifically internationally, the management and the polishing of stormwater and stormwater quality is becoming more and more important. Then she also looks at general stormwater quality on sort of a larger scale, determination of urban and rural impacts, and design of water quality control structures. And then in terms of water and wastewater management, she looks at small-scale technologies and typically filtration systems. Quite interesting sort of focused work. Then we have our postgraduate port and coastal engineering courses. Prof. Koos Cornees and Dr. Andre Tron are the two lecturers involved there. They focus on the design of coastal structures, port layout and design, coastal environmental design and research, and then coastal dunes and beach processes. We're fortunate to have the Transnet teaching chair, it's basically a big sponsorship that allows us to achieve more and to provide you with the best teaching. Definitely unique Stellenbosch postgraduate studies is the teaching chair in Transnet and the coastal courses. There's all sorts of aspects to consider, like coastal protection by groins, for instance, and this is just a photograph of a groin system in Spain. They look at the design of container terminals, with freight being more and more important worldwide. The better and improved handling of freight, especially at the terminal, is a big study focus area for them. With it, also the design of harbors and the backbone infrastructure. In terms of general requirements, normally we prefer research master's degree students only. For the research modules, we have 3 modules where thesis count 100% of your marks, and we prefer full-time students. Then in terms of our port and coastal students, we have a structured or a research modules, where the research, you have 5 modules, and the structured, you have 8 modules. And again, we prefer the full-time students. Then in terms of funding sources, you can look at the National Research Foundation, the Water Research Commission. Sometimes we get these projects from the WRC, and then that allows us to provide bursaries. Department of Water and Sanitation, some local authorities, Department of Agriculture, and then sometimes there are international projects that specifically Prof. Basson is involved with. And then we also encourage students to go study abroad through our international office, and we have good relationship with the likes of Delft, and we've had students actually working and doing some of the modules at Delft and other universities as well. All right, that's it. Thank you very much. Good luck with your decisions, and do not underestimate the value of a master's degree. It really is worth your while. Thank you. Goodbye.